saving money and building my own acoustic panels. It's Jen Renee here, sharing my voiceover acting journey with you. And today I am going to unbox and attempt to build my own acoustic panels. So I have ordered everything after watching Mike Delgado's Booth Junkie instructions. So I have got some wire here, and I ordered these little box of, I believe they're called grommets. I'm very untechnical, but basically it's like a little circle of metal that I can put the wire through and protect the acoustic foam. I did order 3 panels from Acoustic.com. They came in a box. They are 2 by 4 foot panels. So I kind of hope that that would get me out to a good start in setting up my recording space and sound treatment and making sure that my sound quality is at the utmost that it can be, right? I am brand new to all this. Here is Gorilla Glue. It's a spray adhesive. Most of this I ordered from Amazon. And this is going to be what I use to attach the fabric to the acoustic panels, because these acoustic panels from Acoustic are raw. They are just the foam. And so there is a need to cover them with fabric. And I wanted everything to match. So the walls in my studio are off-white. So I found fabric that is also off-white. I am always intimidated by knives and afraid to use them. I always try to cut away from me because I'm always afraid I'm gonna just slice through myself. Of course, I'm sure to close it because I'm intimidated by them. Here is the fabric, and I believe I got this from Fabric Wholesale. Online, I just kind of matched the color. I ordered, I think, 3 or 4 yards, maybe even 5 yards, but it's easy to clean and hang. And so that is basically all of the equipment that I'm gonna need. One thing I would recommend is, there I am, opening the knife and closing the knife and cutting as safely as possible. So the thing about this Acoustic foam is it's actually pretty toxic. So when you're opening it, when you're working with it, if you decide to take up this venture and save a few dollars and just, get that do-it-yourself kind of feeling, it's fun to build things. Me freaking out about the knife, doing it yourself, it's kind of empowering. Just be sure that you wear the protective gear that is appropriate. Make sure you've got a mask. These masks are M3, and I just think they're the most comfortable masks. You get them at Home Depot. And during the pandemic, this was my all-time favorite mask. It covers your nose and your chin, and it's padded. It has 2 straps that go along the back of the head so it doesn't grab your ears. I thought I would wear some protective eyewear, and then I decided it was steaming up too much. So we were gonna do away with that, and definitely the gloves, because you're going to be handling this stuff and it is quite toxic. So you want to be covered. I was sure to wear long sleeves, long pants. I didn't really know exactly what I was getting into. This is full-on experimental mode, and the do-it-yourself entrepreneur spirit. This whole adventure of midlife career change is full-on entrepreneur, full-on learning, knowing that this is probably going to take me forever, but I'm having fun, I'm enjoying the process, and I am excited. So I'm gonna start making these. I would suggest that moving the box probably underneath the table, which I decide is a little bit better of a placement, because you do need the table as your workspace to work with the panels, cover them, and create them. So yes, under the table is going to be a much better suited position for your box as you pull out the panels one by one and get ready to cover them. So the next thing I do is I'm laying out my off-white fabric and measuring up the size I need and cutting off the excess. And now I've got these little straws that I'm going to puncture through the acoustic foam, basically to protect where I plan to put the wire in. And the purpose of the wire is to hang these panels. Of course, I need to hang them in my studio for my sound treatment. So I've put the grommets in as well to add additional protection to the panel. And I'm laying down masking tape. Actually, no, that's duct tape. Duct tape is much more sturdy than masking tape. So that is basically just a tan colored, you can get duct tape in basically any color these days. So I wanted it to not be bright or, see through the fabric because the fabric is pretty light itself. So I actually put that duct tape on to protect it. And then I've got my Gorilla Glue that you need to shake up really good with the spray adhesive and get everything nice and sprayed. So I'm spraying the panel, I'm spraying the fabric. I have an extra little slit for the wire to come through and so that it will hang nicely. And I want to make sure it's really secure. So I am spraying the heck out of this thing and making sure that my fabric does not come off the panel and the panel is completely covered and all that toxic stuff inside is, just packed away and is not going to leak out. Basically wrapping the ends like a present. So folding it and finishing it up. And then I decided that I wanted smaller panels. So I took one of the panels and I measured it out, and I'm going to kind of make 1 foot segments. So there should be 4 segments that are going to be 1 foot by 2 foot. So I can have a little versatility in hanging them because I'm going to need, a little bit smaller spaces as well as overhead when I create my recording booth. So I'm going to basically repeat the same process where I measure, and these guys are much easier to work with because they are much smaller. And so I need far less fabric. I would recommend definitely having leftover fabric because you never know what you're going to need it for or if you're going to need to make more panels, and it's nice to have the same color. So pressing the straws through and then getting the grommets in and placing that tape on and then feeding the wire through. Another thing I would highly recommend is the wire. You can see it's pretty hard for me to cut. So they do sell wire that has a wire cutter right there on the package, and I would highly recommend going that route because wire can be pretty difficult to cut, especially a thicker gauge that's going to last and be sturdy enough to hang your panels. So here we are with my last baby panel, figuring out how to tie the wires. It is quite sharp, so I wrap it around several times and make sure I've got a nice and secure hanging loop with those wires and spraying that spray adhesive. I feel like Gorilla Glue is a really well-known brand, and so I trust it, and that's why I chose Gorilla Glue. I love it. I use it for everything. Not the spray adhesive, but the brand. So it's basically almost done, and that was my process. It took me far longer than I thought. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.